Hello, everyone, and welcome to Recap 2021. You know, it was all intended as a live event once on site for some friendly-minded people coming together to hack on CAP. Now we're a global live broadcast conference. So be it. It has the advantage that travel cost and travel time for you is easy. How will this thing go today? Let me share a heartily welcome, first of all, to all of you. And then, of course, there will be sessions. And even though we're officially a conference of sorts with sessions, we're also an unconference, as you know, meaning, goofing around during presentations is strongly encouraged. Ask questions in the chat. And each session will have a quick intro for the presenter or speaker. Then the session, of course, is happening. And afterwards, there will be a 10-minute Q&A if there's still time. The session itself, as I mentioned, chat plenty during the session, ask questions with the little pod wherever you have it arranged on the live broadcast screen in your browser. Use the questions pod to actually relay questions to the speaker. We have people monitoring the questions pod and then relaying those for the Q&A. And yes, there will be recordings. And, this is a conference, so there will be no slides, so we can't share any, sorry. But there will be polls during the sessions that we'd like you to answer. They're strictly unrelated, I'd say, to specific sessions, but they're of course related to CAP, so please be so kind and answer those. And of course, there will be an after event where we share some drinks and some talk and some mingling and getting together in the spirit of an on-site event, but facilitated by Zoom. And the Zoom link is shared in the audience chat once we come to a close of the event. Without further ado, the official hashtag is Recap 2021 or just Recap. And that's it for me. Let's get the real stars on stage. DJ Adams, stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Volker. So this is a total honor for me. If I can find my, there we go. A total honor for me. Where's my thing here? There we go. Can you see my screen okay? I guess you can. Yeah, it feels really special, right? Having a slot titled Grande Opening is really nice. So thank you to Volker and the rest of the organizers for giving me the chance to ramble for a short while. Now I've got a few slides. Let me just make sure I can share the right thing here. My sharing has gone a bit funny, but that's okay. What's going on? Where's my slides gone? Oh, there we go. Let me get rid of this here. Okay, I've just worked out that I can probably see, there we go. So I can see myself, but also the slides. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, what I want to do is try and set the scene for today by expressing my own perspective on CAP, right? So I want to talk a little bit in these 10-15 minutes about what it was like BC or before CAP, also what it's been like in the early years of AC, Anno CAP, and also what the future holds. Although, as we know, as Niels Bohr, the 19th century Danish physicist, said, prediction is difficult, especially of the future. So I think I mentioned this last time, but it is really a rare occasion when you see something and you just know in your bones that it's right. It's the right technology, solving the right problems, the right way. And CAP was one of those things that appeared on my radar around about the time I joined SAP in early 2018. And, it had its declarative schema approach front and center. It had support for JavaScript as a first-class language. And maybe, I don't know, most astoundingly to me of all at the time, the ability to spin up, design and spin up an OData service from nothing, right? From nothing in, like 5 lines of code. So, and with that, it's easy to forget what it was like in the days BC, in the days before CAP. For many of us, an OData service was the perfect and obvious backend for the application or service we were building. But I remember vividly the friction, the angst, and the sheer effort one needed, right, to bring oneself to get started creating one. And for those versed in and with access to an ABAP stack backend, the process was at least well known, but there was still a lot of effort required, wiring things up. The only real alternative was using Olingo with Java. And I don't know about you, but I've taken that route a couple of times, and believe me, I'm glad I don't have to take that route again, right? So I want to use a word coined in the 16th century by Sir Thomas More. It's a word with deliberately two meanings. Sir Thomas More was Lord High Chancellor, and he was a Renaissance humanist as well, which I think is very appropriate for CAP, right? And CAP to me offered this pragmatic utopia. Utopia being the concept of a place or a situation so good that it probably didn't exist. And that also reflects my early and really poor failed attempts to explain, to convey the wonders of CAP. My attempts fell on deaf ears originally, as if those ears were listening and hearing the utopia, the no place spelling and meaning, rather than what I was trying to convey, which was the utopia, the good or beautiful place. So giving mortals like us the superpower to create a OData service at the drop of a hat was just the beginning, right? That was just the start. So CAP has since then expanded to fill the vision, the foresight, and all the thoughts of its creator and beyond, right? I really believe, and we've got the developer insights survey results here. I really believe that CAP has had quite a significant impact on developers all over the SAP ecosphere, right? So in the top programming languages part of the survey, and that's where this graph is from. Okay, ABAP still takes the #1 spot. The use of JavaScript, though, is a super strong second. And I reckon, and oh yeah, we've got the CDS following up in third place. In fact, the use of CDS, our lingua franca, between all of us here, that the lingua franca of schema definition and reusing CAP itself is more than twice as popular as the language in fourth place. But I think that the JavaScript popularity is due not to a small part because of CAP itself. So beyond that, CAP, I think, is maturing really nicely into a strong multi-paradigm and multi-discipline framework. I don't need to tell you that, right? From support for non-OData consumption protocols through an abstract persistence layer, allowing support from within and outside of SAP for storage systems beyond HANA and SQLite. I think we saw some of that last year as well, right? To what I think Dirk Gently, the fictional holistic detective from the pen of Douglas Adams, what he would definitely refer to as the fundamental interconnectedness of all things. So just taking a look, right, at the sessions today. There we are. It's a little bit small, but I think you can all see the sessions on your own agenda. We've got folks inside and outside of SAP sharing knowledge about so many aspects in and around the CAP universe. We've got sessions looking at CAP's modularity and abstraction, its usability and reusability, and I think those are core philosophical components of what CAP really is all about. We've got sessions looking at CAP being the heart of complex cloud-first processes. Got CAP, being the go-to backend for so many ventures, and that echoes what I mentioned before, as in the days BC and the early days of AC, we had the OData service as the backbone for so many things, and CAP has made that so much more easy for us. We've also got a session that covers, how CAP is a really nice fit with language growth. We've got the tooling, but we've also got the growth beyond JavaScript to TypeScript, for example. And of course, a recap conference wouldn't be complete without a session on extended database support, of course, with based upon the power from CAP's design and its abstraction layers. A really interesting session running CAP beyond SAP, which is what of course we want to see more of, right? Using CAP's open approach, and that open approach is so so prominent in CAP's overall programming model concept, right, and its components too. We've got sessions on how CAP is a great fit for data first and API first projects. We've got some really cool stuff from the CAP team, and we've got a really fantastic re-implementation of a popular public API rewritten in CAP, just to explore the real boundaries of the CAP DSLs. So it became clear to me when I was working on the developer keynote for SAP TechEd 2020, with the rest of my developer advocate teammates and superheroes, that as well as being the natural center of everything that we built for that keynote, CAP really provided the technical and the mental glue between the different components, with different protocols running at different speeds, or maybe, it's better to say at different levels of asynchronicity, right? We had OData operations, RESTful service consumption, event bus-based messaging, and this was all set up and handled in the same delightful, I think that's the right word, delightful way. And talking of delightful, this is a really small point, but it's a point that that's been important to me, and it's been obvious to me since discovering CAP as well. CAP is a super important fundamental project for so many other projects, but it also shows, the implementation shows, that you can be playful and serious at the same time, right? Who amongst us has not noticed and been curious about those unusual little values in the documentation, in the implementation, in the samples? I remember asking Daniel, I was super proud, thinking that I'd figured out why the port that was chosen for CAP was 4004. I thought it was to do with Intel's first microprocessor, but I was completely wrong. I'll let Daniel explain that if he wants to later on. But I mean, I just love the detail, and this is I'm just scratching the surface. Why the heck have they chosen all ones for the string lengths, for example? And there's more beauty. It's fractal. The beauty is fractal as you descend, and I think that's a really nice, a nice way to think about CAP as we kick off this day together, because CAP is so important, but also it's important to have fun, right? So I just want to finish this sort of ramble with thoughts about, next steps. What are the next steps for CAP? It's clear that, it's up to you all collectively to decide, what the next steps are to work on this together. We've got the community input, the influence and participation, combined with, the diligence and the focus of the core team members internally. And that makes for a really, really powerful and deep thinking engine. And that's really important because CAP's important. I remember writing a blog post last year, I think CAP's important because CAP's not important. CAP isn't important because it's at the heart of everything. So, it's just a given, but CAP is super important. And the reason I think CAP is important, at the end of the day, and I'm going to finish this ramble on a quote from another one of my heroes, the great Larry Wall, right? And this was, I think he wrote this in a preface to the second edition of the Learning Perl O'Reilly book. And this was explaining what Perl really did. And this explains to me what CAP does as well. So, CAP makes easy things easy, but it also makes hard things possible. And I think that, it's such a simple sentence, but if you think about it, there are very few pieces of technology that do that. CAP, for me, does that. And that's thanks to Daniel Hutzel and his amazing people. So I'm going to stop rambling now and say thank you for giving me this opportunity to open the proceedings with Volker, and hand over to the amazing Mr. Daniel Hutzel. So yeah, take it away, Daniel. Thanks.